Hey, Derek here. So this is it, number one on my list. And I wouldn't necessarily say that this is absolutely my favorite ride in the whole world, but if you were to ask me to pick one ride that I could do before I died, this would probably be at Paradise Loop in Crested Butte, Colorado. And I think you'll understand why after watching this Google Earth tour. So let's take a look at this elevation contour here. So this ride is approximately 37 miles long, involves 6,200 feet of climbing and descending, and but it's a pretty fast ride though. It's not incredibly hard to average 10 miles an hour on this ride. So if you're used to riding that distance, so it'd probably take 4.5 to 5 hours to finish, depending on how much time you stopped. So let's go around the loop here. So this is a clockwise loop, starting in Crested Butte. So you ride in Crested Butte for a little bit, catch the lower loop trails. Follow if you're following along there with the red arrow. So those were the lower loop trails, and then you get on Slate River Road here and climb. Go through the town of Pittsburgh, and you really start climbing. And then you get up to Paradise Divide, go down to Elko Park for a little bit, get on Gothic Road, climb up 401 for a bit, and down to Rustler's Gulch, up climbing on 401 for a little bit, and then down. And then you get into Gothic, climb up Gothic Road, climb up Mount Crested Butte, down Mount Crested Butte, the little neighborhood area, up to Upper Loop, down Tony's, back into Crested Butte. So that's what it looks like going around the horn. So let's take a look at these. Take a look at this route just in a little more detail. So, like I said, this starts and finishes in Crested Butte, specifically at the corner of Highway 135 and Elk Avenue. So this is Elk Avenue here, east to west, and this is Highway 135, and this is the visitor center. And you start here because there's a big public parking area. So then you take a right on Elk Avenue, ride through town, check out what's going on, and then you take a right on First, and then take a left here on Butte Avenue, and then shortly after you take your left onto Butte, you're going to get on trails, which is pretty sweet. So there's your first trail. Some people call this Woods Walk, some people call it Ruby Bend. I am not quite sure because it's not signed, so we'll just call it Woods Walk for now because that's how it appears on the map. So anyways, you're going to stay on that. There's actually a turn or two, but you can see that in the GPS file. And then so it actually pops back out here onto Peanut Lake Road just for a second. You take a left, and then you're going to hop on the lower loop single track trail here, which is the trail on the far right, okay, because these other trails are trails that are used by hikers. So anyways, that joins up with the lower loop main trail again, and then you're going to, what I recommend doing is taking the KB trail, which is the one in the middle, just because it's a little more interesting, and then it pops back out onto the lower loop, and the lower loop is eventually going to bring you over here to Gunsight Bridge. Okay, so what you'll want to do is lower loop pops out here, lower loop trail pops back out onto this dirt road, and then you take a left and turn a right here on Gunsight Bridge Road, take Gunsight Bridge across, and immediately after Gunsight Bridge there's this trail that brings you up to the Slate River Road. You want to get on the Slate River Road, taking it left, and start riding up the drainage. So you ride up for a ways, and then when you get to the town, the little remnants of the town of Pittsburgh, you start your 2,000-foot climb up to Paradise Divide, which is really cool because it seems like you're on a divide. And in fact, water on this side of the divide goes down to the Gunnison River on this side, and which eventually meets up with the Colorado River, and water on this side goes down directly to the Colorado River, well, eventually directly. So anyways, once you get to the top of the divide, you go ride down here into Elko Park, which is this little flat area. That's what parks are called in Colorado. And then you connect County Road 734, which is the road you've been on for a long time, meets up with Gothic Road. And then shortly after that is your trailhead for the lower loop. So here's County Road 734, Gothic Road, County Road 317. Climb up 401, get to the top of this climb around the bend, and you just are greeted with awesome views of Crested Butte. And then eventually we're going to go down from there, going to meet up with Rustler's Gulch Road just for a second. So here's the single track trail 401, Rustler's Gulch Road. Get down here, take a left for 401 again. You actually climb up for a little bit, and you come back out on another 2-track, which you take a left on. So here's the trail. Here's the 2-track. You take a left on. You're on it just for a second. You get back on the 401 again. And then from there, it's downhill to the Upper Judd Falls parking area. So here's 401 trail, Upper Judd Falls. And you're going to take a right on this 4-wheel drive road down to the Lower Judd Falls parking area, and then take a left on Gothic. And then when you get into Gothic, just a little tip of the day for you. Behind the general store there is a potable water tap, and I use it to turn this what is a hydration pack ride into a 2 water bottle ride. So I carry 2 water bottles, drink them. By the time I get here, fill them up again, I'm good to go. It's pretty awesome for this water tap that's here. So, and in fact, behind the water tap there's now a restroom too, which is a pretty cool addition. So anyways, from there you get back on the Gothic Road, and then you're going to take a left on Prospect Drive when you get in the town of Mount Crested Butte, and then you take Prospect Drive up, then get on Kokanee, take a left on Kokanee Avenue, and there's just a little bit of a weird turn here. It's not too weird, but kind of weird to have bridges in this area. So like this. So anyways, on Kokanee Avenue, you go across the bridge, and then you take a left, and you go underneath the bridge, and you get on the Meander Trail, and it's going to carry you up to Primer, and then you can take several trails down. Just depends on your skill level. This one showcases the luge, which doesn't have gaps in the jumps. You could also take Avery, which does have gaps. But anyways, no matter what you take, you're going to end up down here at the base area. And so you just take a right here between these 2 buildings. It's the first path that you can take a right on, and it's going to put you out in Snowmass. Take a left on Hunter Hill, and that's going to take you over to the upper loop. The upper loop is going to bring you down. That's the upper loop there. It's going to bring you out to Tony's, where you take a right. You take a right here on Tony's, get on McCormick Ranch Road, and then McCormick Ranch Road turns into Elk Avenue, and that's it. That is your Loop of Paradise there in Crested Butte, Colorado. This is a beautiful ride, folks. Got to try it. Later.